Hey Globalites, welcome to Downday Sunday, a weekly video series where I share a recent experience, answer your questions, and raffle off a postcard. This is probably not going to go up on Sunday because I'm having some internet issues, but I'm going to try and get it up as soon as possible, so we'll see. So this week I had an experience where I was in an incredible place, a very beautiful place, and I just wasn't into it. And I want to talk a little bit today about sometimes how travel is just not fun. On this channel, I don't want to give a false narrative of how things are going because there's a lot of travel YouTubers and a lot of travel bloggers who sell this image of the dream, the dream of selling everything you own and going out there and everything being great after that. Everything, no regrets, all that stuff. And a lot of that stuff is true, but there are downsides to traveling long term and just traveling in general. So basically I was on this island and I was surrounded by this gorgeous view. I became aware of the fact that I was just not in the right headspace to take in the experience. I wasn't feeling happy or excited, and it wasn't because the scene wasn't exciting itself, it was just because I wasn't good. I probably should have experienced that kind of excursion at a time when I was a little bit more receptive to it. And sometimes when you're traveling, you lose touch of some of the things that ground you. And for me, that left me frustrated because on the one hand, I was like, when's the next time I'm going to come here? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, maybe. I need to be into this. And I'm recording a video and I don't want to appear to feel unappreciative to my audience. And there was that frustration, but then also I needed to take a step back and just admit to what was going on, which was that I wasn't into it at the moment. And I'm really happy I took footage of the place and I took photos because now I can actually look back and be like, wow, that was a really great experience. But at least I have the mementos to know that what was in front of me was really spectacular. And we all have these kinds of experiences when we travel. Maybe we go someplace and it's not the thing that we expected it to be, so then we get disappointed. Or maybe we're just traveling too much and we're burnt out and we're tired. Or maybe we're traveling with other people and you're starting to spend a little bit too much time with them. That's when travel isn't fun, and that's when travel isn't glamorous. So when this happens, I have 3 tips for you to help you manage this experience. Number 1 is, if you're aware of this happening, remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're here, because that might provide you with the motivation to snap out of it and continue on with the experience. Is this something that you've been working hard for? Is this a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Is this something you never want to forget? Sometimes we get lost in our heads and we let the negative kind of dominate things, but you have to remind yourself of what you're doing here. Number 2, if that motivation doesn't push you through, maybe it's time to do something else. Now, you're probably tired or just emotionally drained from being away from home, or you just need a break. So take a break for yourself, take some time for yourself and go do something that is rewarding, and stop wasting time forcing the thing that you're trying to do just because you're in a new place. There are many different ways to experience a place, and it can be just as simple as taking a walk, hanging out at a cafe, reading a book in a nice setting. All these things you can do at home, and they're not bad things to do while you travel. They might actually help you appreciate the things that you're doing even more because you're taking that time for yourself to take care of yourself and to disconnect from the pressure of getting everything in and seeing everything and doing everything. And number 3 is that if you're traveling in a place where you're with a bunch of people, or maybe you're doing this for a job and you need to be present and you're just not feeling it, to get through the moment, just dig deep, muster up the strength, and fake it till you make it. Because you don't want to be irritating to the people around you, and you don't want to drag down everybody else's experiences. But if you do that, make sure you then go ahead and take a break by yourself, disconnect from all those people, because if you push yourself too hard, you're going to get to a breaking point and you're going to start snapping out. And you might start doing some irrational things that you might not be so proud of later. So get through the moment, then take a break for yourself, and then get back into the travel. Okay, it's time for your questions, and last week we got a ton of questions, so thank you all so much. I'm not going to be able to answer all of them this week, but we're going to, spread them out so that we have a healthy amount of questions throughout these Downday Sundays. So this question's from Spoo P, who writes, do you have a vague itinerary where you can just pick up and go when you feel like it's time to move on? Or have you something more stringent in mind? It's the whole fast, slow thing, I suppose, I'm thinking of, and how hard it must be to leave a place you're really liking, but at the same time balancing the pull of having only one lifetime to see everything, in all caps. Similar to that question, Bruce Devenow asks, how do you go about selecting which cities and towns you'll be visiting? Do you have a master plan or do you improvise your itinerary as you speak with fellow travelers? Okay, so Spoopy and Bruce, basically the planning for my trip and the structure around it all comes from a few key dates. Dates for places I need to be, like weddings and birthdays, and the associated flights around those places that I need to be on those dates, as well as dates for when visas expire. Because since this trip is very much a budget trip, I want to maximize as much of my visas as possible and not spend money jumping back and forth between countries willy-nilly. So that basically provides me the structure from a month-to-month basis as to where I'm going to be. Now within that structure, that affords me the flexibility about the places I go within each country. And I can spend as little or as much time in those places as I want because the only deadline I have by the end of the month is just to get out of the country. And generally, I'm not a heavy planner and I don't need everything laid out in front of me. So this is a nice balance between continuing to move while being able to enjoy a place that I really like. Now in regards to selecting a place or a city to go visit, basically it's a combination of what I hear from fellow travelers, what I read about online, and what I think I want to do. And I just want to address that point, Spoo, about only having one life to see everything. That's too much pressure. That's way too much pressure for anybody. What I've learned on this trip is that when you're in a place, you're not going to be able to see and do everything. And if you try to, you're going to burn yourself out. So if you have stamina and you're young and just go, sure, great, do everything. But I bet you're still not going to do everything. So release the pressure of that. Just enjoy life to the fullest every day. And if that means just relaxing and, by the beach, that's totally fine. That's living your life to the fullest. Okay, that's all we have time for questions. If you want your question answered in the next Downday Sunday, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. And now it's time for our weekly raffle. Every week I draw someone to win a postcard from me, and the winner this week is Brett Boyd. If you want to win a postcard from me, all you have to do is leave a comment down below with the hashtag of the place that you think I'm currently at right now. And here's a hint. This week on the channel, we go to a very different environment in Vietnam. We go to the mountain town of Dalat, so stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, and follow, and I'll see you on the next Downday Sunday. And until then, get off the couch and go do great things. Bye! Obviously, but Fiona has lots of experience, so I have some questions for you, if that's okay.
Sure. I'm excited. I'm nervous, but excited.
You're nervous? Okay, come on, girl. I've seen your Snapchats. You're not nervous about anything.